I'm Nick DePirro.
I'm Reilly.
I'm Aric Improta from Night Versus,
And you're watching Backstage Explorers. I'm Nick DePirro, play guitar in Night Versus. On this tour, I brought a couple guitars with me. I have my Abasi Lorada. This is one of the first 8 strings I've gotten recently, and I like it a lot. I also have the Abasi Emmy, which is what I'm playing as my main 8 string at this point. And this guitar is awesome. 2 Music Man guitars. They're all kind of crammed in here. This is my newest guitar that I've gotten from Music Man. It's a JP15. And it's all blacked out. This guitar I got made right before this tour, so this is the first tour I'll be using it on. Super stoked about it. And then I have another JP15, which this guitar I've had for I don't even know how long, probably like 5 years, and at least 5 years. And I've been using this the entire time as my main guitar. I only recently got that other one, so this will be the first time that I switch my main guitar for a tour. This is a Quantum Industries, I forget the name of the actual case itself, but this case is one of the best pieces of like traveling equipment I've had. Handles 3 guitars through all like travel like chaos. So like I've never had an issue with this thing. You know, through all the TSA checking and all that kind of stuff, it's held up great. Highly recommend this case if you need multiple guitars at once kind of thing. And it works as a boat, which is awesome. On this tour, I'm running 2 Black Star St. James cabs. One on each side, so I have a left and a right guitar tone. They sound great, and I run these mostly for stage volume, so it's for my kind of hearing and for anybody up front kind of thing. And then I'm running an Axe FX 3 from Fractal Audio. This is where all of my main tones come from, most of my effects, all my main distortions and clean tones. I'm powering the cabs with these 2 Black Star Amped 1 pedals, so these are just to get the sound from the Axe effects into these cabs, and I run 2 of them. So this is for stage left and this is for stage right. They're basically the same settings. They're kind of just boosting both cabs, which is really, really cool. Those things are awesome. Over here on the pedal board, I have the Digitech Whammy, which is one of my favorite pedals. I use it often. I have the Digitech Ricochet. So these are 2 pitch shifter pedals. I use them differently, but they're both able to achieve really cool high octaves, low octaves, kind of a bunch of things. This actually is probably one of my favorite pedals in general because it can allow you to really bend notes and like do some weird stuff that you can't exactly do with that pedal, so it's cool to have both. Then I have a Grand Orbiter from Earthquaker Devices, which I use the song Arrival specifically, and it's kind of like at the end there's this trippy kind of chaotic sound, and that's that pedal. And then I have an Expression pedal from Dunlop and the Fractal FC12, which controls everything in the Axe effects. This thing is awesome. I've taken it on the last 3 tours we've done. It takes a beating, so I love this thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. All powered up here with the Furman power bar, and yeah, pretty much my rig. Before I play, usually I'll kind of just do like, 4-finger runs up and down the fretboard, like 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th fret. And I'll walk that up and down each string and kind of just move up to the 12th fret. And I'll do that for about like 5-10 minutes until I feel like a little more loose. And then I'll play a couple of riffs somewhere set, just like little things, but that's pretty much what I've done for a long time, just to get like the fingers warmed up a little. What I'm writing, it kind of just depends. I think depends on the mood I'm in or what I didn't do like as much recently. So if I've been writing a lot of heavier stuff, then I'll kind of lean more into the ambient stuff. But I like to bounce between both because I listen to a lot of different music that kind of does all these different things, and I like to incorporate that throughout all of my sounds. So the ambient stuff is a lot of fun because you can kind of cake it up with a lot of reverb and delay and kind of really lean into like the atmospheric kind of sound with those pedals and those effects. And the heavier stuff is always fun to play just because, the energy and just kind of being more aggressive is fun. Which one I do in the moment just really just depends on, like the day or the mood. But I do switch between both pretty often. My favorite thing about the Axe Effects is I can run an entire stereo rig. So I have one amp and cab setup that's for the left side and one amp and cab setup on the right side. And so that allows me to basically split my signal in half and kind of go like to a really wide stereo sound. And it actually sounds as much like two guitars as possible. And I also have, like, in the Axe Effects chain, there's a delay that kind of splits, it like offsets one side a little bit, so it actually sounds like two guitars, like they're playing the same riff but just slightly different. So it creates that wider sound, and it's awesome because you can't really do that without some type of modeler situation or like very specific pedals that I haven't actually had the experience using. So this has been my favorite setup for sure.
I'm Reilly from Night Versus. This is my rig rundown. We'll start with my bass. This is my Spectre Euro 4 LX. I've had this exact bass since 2011. It's my main bass. It's been my main bass. I've had a few that I've used on some tours, but I like this one so much that I actually, when I get backup basses, I get the exact same bass. So all the basses I have on this tour, I prefer the 2011 model, just the way the neck plays. Super versatile. The tone knobs are really cool because I can lower this tone knob here and it can basically sound like a flat wound string, even if it's, you know, I'm running normal strings on there. So Spectre, all-time favorite basses. I'll probably never leave those. EMGXs, yeah, and then there's the Spectre. The main thing that I think makes it so unique is the Spectre tone pump circuit, which is inside the bass. That's what makes it like one quick change of a knob makes it super soft to super hot. And our music's kind of all over the place as far as like what I need to do tone-wise. So it's helpful to be able to be playing a really crazy distorted part and then just softening it up really quick and go into a soft, kind of more like jazzy or softer kind of thing. It's all dark glass, so I use the dark glass 4x10 cabinet. It's a new, I believe they just came out with these recently. Super lightweight, but the best sounding cabs I've used ever by far. And then I use the Alpha Omega 900 watt amp. I used to use the pedal version of this head on my pedal board, but I liked it to have the power behind it. And then I blend the tone live with my Axe Effects, which I'll show you in a minute. I blend the tones between my Axe Effects and this live, so I have a slightly different live sound. And sometimes I send the blended live sound post out of the back of the Alpha Omega, so I get this cool mix right there. It's funny because the Axe Effects and the FM3 stuff is so good and the tones are so good out of there. I mess with it, so we'll record our sets and I'll switch back and forth of going direct out of my pedal board, and then sometimes I like mixing the tone and having the control to manipulate it on the head too. So I kind of go back and forth. This is the FM3, pretty, you know, standard for a lot of musicians now. It's the Axe Effects FM3. I don't need a lot of extra pedals and stuff. I was debating between getting an FM9, but for what I do, it's pretty straightforward. So FM3, I use this DI box pretty much just to bring down my the dBs a little bit because it comes in super hot with that Spectre. And then I just run it into my whammy for just some like kind of scoop effects I do. But with the FM3, it's just, I pretty much run it 3 channels, a clean, my distortion, and then an effects and a tuner. So very straightforward. A lot of finger stretches. I've had a lot of finger and wrist issues and stuff, so just a lot of finger stretches, and pretty much that's it. I do a couple exercises on the fretboard just for dexterity, but yeah, nothing too crazy. Our band usually starts with either a riff that Nick has or a drum idea that Aric has, or a rhythm or a timing. And then we like to write in a room for the most part. We do send some stuff back and forth, but overall we find we get more of a we get better results out of our songs when we start in a room because ideas happen in the moment, you know? So you'll get something where I'll play something, he's like, oh, stop, repeat that. And then I can play this over it, and then it kind of builds more naturally that way. So we've all been playing together since we were 12 years old. We all went to the same junior high school. We were all in, you know, hardcore bands when we were younger. And it's kind of like members came and fell out, but us 3 kind of were like the glue for the whole time. And so we've just kept it going, changing names and stuff as we go. But Night Versus has been the main thing. And writing-wise, just to keep going on that, actually, my process for bass is I tend to wait until I get a solid drum idea before I want to implement stuff, but I'm kind of writing around a lot of notes from Nick's end and a lot of rhythm from Aric's end. So I kind of like it when we kind of flesh out the idea first, and then I can approach it a few different ways and then bring it to them like, okay, I could play this thing that's a little more busy, or I could play something that's a little more laid back in the pocket and allow more of the melodies to soar. So it's kind of cool because it allows just more versatility to the songs, I've noticed. Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Tool's great. They've been a big influence for us, and they actually took us on tour. We did a European run with Summer, last year, 2024, and that was kind of like a bucket list item tour, you know, because Aric is friends with Justin, and they did a song together previous to the tour, and when it came up, we just kind of got the offer, and it was kind of a dream come true for us, just because we respect them a lot as musicians too. And I think our music has a good synergy with them. Their fans seem to like it, so we were stoked on that.
What's up? I'm Aric Improta from Night Versus. This is my kit for the tour with Animals as Leaders. Play a Star Classic from Tama. Usually I'm using maple wood. I use Remo heads. When I don't have my signature line, I'm always using Emperor Coateds for my toms and Emperor X for the snare. Power Stroke 3 for the kick drum. Again, that's Remo. Yeah, I've got signature drum heads with Remo where I hand illustrate, and they're printed on clear Emperors, but they print the artwork between the plies, so when you hit it, it never blurs, which is great. And they're similar to clear Emperors, but they have a little bit of a lower, fuller tone. Just very slightly. I love it, but it's definitely something that you have to like choose and try out. And then my snare, my signature snare is in the back. Again, hand illustrated. It's based off of an Emperor X, but it's got a flat black print with the illustration and like a negative design. Hazy Ambassador below the snare. As far as cymbals, Meinl forever. I love Meinl. I use the Byzance series for hi-hat and China and Splash. I use the Classics Customs Dark crashes, and then Soundcaster Fusion Ride, which is discontinued, but it's one of my favorites, so I never got rid of it. This is a Marvin from Morph Beats. It sort of holds the space of a cowbell, but without having the corny sound of a cowbell. Super useful if you're trying to do anything industrial, but at the same time it feels like live percussion, which is awesome. P-Glide Iron Cobras for double kick pedal. This Latin percussion conga top for a few of our songs. And then when it comes to electronics, I usually do mostly one shots, so all of our sounds are triggered like by hand as the song goes, because I just want it to kind of feel human like the rest of the kit. I use the SPD-SX, but I want to get the updated one. I've had this for a while, I just haven't hit up my rep yet, but it's great for loading in your own sounds. And then the SPD-30, it has 600 sounds built in and you can blend them. And I think I got this originally just because I was doing the Guitar Center drum offs and they would give it away as like a prize, but it ended up being the first thing I ever used to compose any sort of melody on. I just have it here because I've written so much on it, but some people don't like the limitation of it being only sounds within the kit. I kind of like it because it forces you to work with what you have. I use this table from Tama as far as like holding a click or a talkback mic or anything. Me and my friend Alan made these kick stops. Those keep the kick drum from sliding. And I also have one in front of the kick pedal. Meinl Stick and Brush 5B. They're great, pretty consistent as far as like the weight and everything else. They've been amazing. You know what? Yeah, I don't always choose to do it, but for some reason my snare always ends up tuned kind of low. I hit pretty hard. I like it tuned up high when we're recording, but I don't know why. Whenever I'm in a room, it just ends up like, I like that feel when I'm playing with a band. It kind of like fills out our sound. Because we're a three-piece, I just need to sound as big as possible. Yeah, definitely. I watch a lot of videos that kind of keep me focused and like grateful that I get to be here, no matter how big the show. Sometimes it's huge, sometimes it's, 50 people. I watch a lot of Russell Westbrook and Kobe dunk highlights because I need to have like energy. I can't start these sets half awake, especially with jet lag. Sometimes it's difficult, so I need something to get into it. I play Firestarter from Prodigy a lot. Like that's usually like before I walk out, something that kind of like puts me in the place I need to be in. So that's been the routine for the last couple of years now. I feel like 50% start on drums, 50% start on guitar, but we leave moments that are there just for our bass player, like where it's like, we'll do whatever we need to make him be the highlight. And then every once in a while he'll do some awesome intro that it's like, well, now we have to base a whole song off of that. So it's pretty communal. I definitely like to start songs on drums. especially like in a physical space versus programming it, because you just end up getting something different than if you were to actually type everything out. Not that we don't do that, but the songs that tend to start on drums are usually played first. Well, my favorite drummer of all time is John Theodore. I love Martin Lopez from Opeth. I love Mario from Gojira. I mean, Ronald Bruner was probably my favorite gospel drummer growing up, but Chris Coleman I've been lucky enough to play with a few times. Actually, I played here or in Paris with Aaron Spears in 2019, and it was just so cool to watch. Rest in peace, man. He was like a life force when he played. He could play pocket, and the whole room was just hypnotized. And I think if you're a drummer, that's the most powerful thing you can possess. So yeah, he's definitely up there.